Back on First Things First, we'll get to Saquon and the Giants in a second, but first, some action from yesterday. Aaron Rodgers returns from the locker room last night to throw a beautiful deep pass to Geronimo Allison for the touchdown. Nice catch. Unforgettable night for Rodgers.
Listen, Rodgers getting all the love today as he well deserves. But how about this catch by Geronimo Allison? I think that's pretty decent coverage. Comes down to the back of the end zone. What'd you think of that catch by Geronimo?
The only reason why he can catch it is because the throw was amazing. Because that was good coverage. I mean, the throw just barely beat the hand. The throw was amazing. The catch just all right.
Okay. High standard.
Seahawks. Chris Carson gets the handoff. Watch what happens next. Just clears him. 24-yard gain. Broncos won it, though.
Man, you get your foot just barely clipped on that. You do a front flip. You don't want to, but he clears him all the way. Clean on the hurdles. Reminded me, of I think one of your kids was a track star. I don't quite remember. Look at that.
Go with
Chris Carson, go get it.
Yeah, it looks like Todd Gurley. We got a lot of running backs jumping in the air, man. It's an in vogue thing.
Oh, look at that.
All right, finally, the fastest man in the NFL, Tyreek Hill, with an unbelievable catch. What an adjustment. He ended the game with 3 touchdowns, and the Chiefs beat the Chargers, Nick.
We knew Tyreek Hill was fast. I hadn't seen him in the NFL make a contested catch like this. It looked like he might have been hurt, landed on his head. This is a hell of a catch by Tyreek Hill,
Definitely the best catch of his career. He doesn't catch the ball in traffic very well, and he doesn't go off the ground and catch the ball. So you can see him evolving as a wide receiver. Even though Nick thinks he's better than what he is, that's a great catch, though.
Greatest of all time. Time now for Put a Grade on It. Let's start with Andrew Luck. He threw for 319 yards and 2 touchdowns in his first game since the 2016 season. It wasn't enough, though, to beat the Bengals. Nick, put a grade on Andrew Luck's first game back.
I give Andrew Luck a B+. I thought he played very well after the interception to open the game. As a quarterback, you're always going to be graded down a bit if your team doesn't win. But given the fact that he threw more passes than any player in the league yesterday after a year off, I think it's a really good first step for Andrew Luck. I say a B+.
Oh, Nick Wright, here we go again with your grading system. Andrew Luck almost got his head taken off the first play of the game. What other human being do you know is going to be able to throw the ball 50 times after that? The guy, you got to give him an A. He's been out of football. Man, he gets that hit at the beginning of the game. That would have ended a lot of guys' day. A for Andrew Luck. Outstanding performance. Glad to see him back on the field.
All right, good stuff. Next up, Patrick Mahomes, the second-year quarterback, threw for 256 yards and 4 touchdowns, including 2 to Tyreek Hill, in a win over the Chargers. CC, put a grade on Patty Mahomes Day.
All right, it was good. You got to give him an A. He did what Andy Reid wanted him to do. They did a lot of different formations, gave him a lot of exotic looks. You can tell that Andy Reid has expanded the playbook and allowing the young kid to be able to play to the best of his ability in the playbook. He's got really good weapons, and he's getting the ball out. The offensive line did give him some time to be able to do that. So you got to give him in his first start an A.
And, an A+, because you also consider the defense he's up against. I know they didn't have Jason Verrett. Casey Hayward's out there. I thought Derwin James, as a rookie, was already making plays. No Joey Bosa, but Melvin Ingram still out there. A guy who we'd only seen play one NFL game, and it was a Week 17 game without full starters on either team. This was an excellent debut on the road against a good defense. I give him an A+.
All right, next up, Saquon Barkley ran for 106 yards on 18 carries, the bulk of that coming on a 68-yard touchdown run. It wasn't enough to beat the Jaguars, though. Nick, put a grade on Saquon's NFL debut.
I think people are actually underrating it this morning a little bit. They're like, well, if not for that one explosive play, but that one explosive play happened, and that's kind of what we expect from Saquon. Not that he's necessarily going to get you 5 yards every carry. He might be stuffed a handful of times, but he's going to break one of these, they hope, every game. I give him an A-. I thought he was very, very good against a very, very difficult defense. I thought this was an excellent debut for Saquon Barkley.
I think he deserves a B. I think it was a good football game. In college, we didn't know if he could be the workhorse, if he could run the ball, if you have a lead. Now, they didn't have the lead with the Giants, but you saw him be very, very impressive between the tackles. It's been able to grind it out some days as a running back. To finish your first day over 100 yards, you had the one big play in there, but that was based on his ability. He got up in the hole, There was no hole there. Made a couple people miss. Was able to escape to the outside. Got a big block by his wide receivers to be able to get him a convoy going down the sideline. But yes, B for the rookie's first game. Yes, that's a good start for the New York Football Giants.
All right, next up, Khalil Mack in his first game as a Chicago Bear. The All-Pro had a strip sack and a pick six. Chicago came just short in a 1-point loss to the Packers. CC, put a grade on Mack's debut with the Bears last night.
Well, I'm going to give him an A. I know people are going to try to criticize his lack of productivity, but I know these people haven't played in NFL games, and I'm sure these people have never rushed the passer for a first half, let alone missing all of training camp. So football, if you're going to play it well and high level, you need practice and you need training camp. He didn't have a reservoir of energy, and that's what training camp is about. It gives you the endurance that not only you can play well in the first half, and you can play well in the second half, but it gives you the endurance that you need throughout the season. So we've seen guys miss training camp. It's hard to be successful, but I like the intensity. He's a big play. He's a special player, and he showed us that in the first 60 minutes of the game. A.
Listen, yeah, A+. I mean, he made enough impact in the first half that, to C's point, you can still get an A+ no matter what you do in the second half. When you take the ball away from Deshaun Kaiser, and then a few minutes later, you have a pick six, it seemed like the Bears had won the game right then and there. As good of an initial debut, or as good of a debut as you possibly could have had. Great game by Khalil Mack.
Hey. Finally, Bills starting quarterback Nathan Peterman went 5 for 18 with 2 picks. He finished with 24 yards. The Ravens returned his interceptions for 47 yards. All right, Nick, here we go. Put a grade on Nate Peterman's game.
Listen, in the NFL, you're supposed to have a touchdown-interception ratio. Nate Peterman has a completion-to-interception ratio. That ain't great, Bob. In his 3 starts in his career, 147 yards thrown to his team, 31 yards thrown to the other team. Listen, this is an F. I thought he was their best option to start at quarterback, which speaks to their bad options, but not a great game for CC's guy, Nate Peterman.
Peterman's going to get an F, but this is an F to the organization. Anytime you have the top 10 pick, which they do, anytime you have a quarterback, which you did in Tyrod, get you in the playoffs first time in 17 years, you decide to trade that guy, and then the guy that you drafted, he's not even good enough that I can play him. Oh, forget about A.J. McCarron. Didn't I sign him too? Oh, he's not with the team. So they have a colossal failure as an organization. Peterman's going to get the grade as an F. But they've really failed them because that offensive line, it's going to be hard to be a competent NFL passer behind that offensive line.
Plus, look at all these Peterman jokes we have. How are we going to use them if he comes out and plays well? All right, we've got to take a break. Coming up, would the Steelers have won if they had L. Bell? That's next on First Things First.